How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living?
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America. And let's talk about it, because a lot of people say it's exaggeration that you can escape, but let me tell you why it's really not. First, let's talk about credit cards, because that is one of the biggest traps in America. And it's honestly so sad to see like 90% of Americans are in debt and like they obviously cannot pick up and go to another country.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren and I'm Maureen. So in today's episode, we're going to be addressing the fact that palm colored people are now just waking up and realizing that whatever they're going through right now, Black America has been addressing it for the longest time, but since it didn't concern them back in the day, they didn't have any business addressing it. But right now, it is affecting everybody, not only Black America or white America, everybody in America. Right. For those who can afford to get out of America, that is what is happening. People are leaving America in droves, but only those who can afford. So what happens to the other Americans who cannot afford this? They're left trapped in America, just enduring the kind of standards of living that America is now providing. Yeah, which begs the question right now, if people had listened to Black America back when they started complaining and addressing these issues, would they have gotten to this point? Before you answer that question, let's watch this video and then you come back and talk about it, and then you can leave us a comment on what you think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you're new to this channel. Right. Let's watch.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living?
I really have no fucking clue how people afford this day and age with normal average jobs. And it's like, I was a server for almost 8 years and I never once made more than like 40 grand. And that was me making decent money. I was making $20 to $30 an hour. But it doesn't matter, because the average cost to live in America is like 3 grand a month or something. And that times 12 is like almost 40 grand, you know? Maybe that was enough money to live off of 4 or 5, more like 20 fucking years ago. It's unfortunate, but it's just not enough money anymore.
This is why I feel like the cost of living has never been as bad as it is right now. Because it used to be, when the cost of living was high, it was for the things that you need in life. Food, gas, shelter, etc. All those things cost a lot of money. Right now, all of those things still cost a lot of money. And also, I feel like it's just expensive to just be alive. Like, I feel like my life, as soon as I wake up, is literally just me putting down a credit card, and it's just a tab. And life is a bartender, and it's just like, what are you gonna have? And I'm just like, I'm okay. I don't really need anything today. And it's just like, oh really? Well, if you're gonna be here, you're going to need to spend money. And I'm just like, what do you mean here? I'm just in the world. And it's just like, yeah, you have to buy something now. It's even getting to the point where, like, I feel like even my thoughts are getting expensive, you know? Like I could just have the thought of like, my nose is a little stuffy. And then all of a sudden I open up my phone 10 minutes later and have 12 ads for like, oh, you have a pollen allergy and you got to buy these anti-pollen allergy pills or you're going to suffocate in your sleep. Sleep is the only place I still feel kind of safe. But even there, it's like I could have sleep problems for one night and then I wake up feeling kind of groggy and all of a sudden I'm getting targeted ads for melatonin gummies. It's like all of our necessities are still expensive, and then also just every increment of our life costs something.
And it's like the video that I stitched, she was talking about how someone she knew was a teacher and how she didn't make enough money. My best friend is a teacher. She is so passionate. She is so knowledgeable about what she does, but she will never make the amount of money that she deserves, you know? She still lives with her fucking mom, and I don't blame her. I still live with my parents, even though I'm making really good money, because I know that the second that I move out, I'm going to be throwing away quadruple the amount of money that I already am, because shit is just so damn expensive. Like I said, I don't have a quote unquote normal job anymore. I work online. I do affiliate and digital marketing. It genuinely hurts me to sit here and think that people who are such hard workers, who have so much knowledge, are just not getting paid what they deserve, especially my best fucking friend.
How are people affording life right now? How are people tackling this cost of living on the average American salary? I just watched a TikTok of a teacher who makes a teacher's salary. I don't know what state she's in, so I don't know how much she makes, but her 1-bedroom apartment is $2,000. And when she spends $2,000 on that 1-bedroom apartment, it doesn't even come with a washer and dryer. So she has to go pay an additional $2 every time she wants to use their washer and dryer. Okay, like, how does that leave her any extra money to spend? And then she said she had a $400 car payment, which some people were bashing her on that. But in today's economy with interest rates, that's really not that bad. And I'm sure she needs a dependable car. So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment. You got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now, and it really makes me sad for some people. You have people who are like her. She's single, she has her own salary, or families where it just works out best for them for the mother to stay home. And if the father is just making an average American salary, how are they affording life without going in a bunch of debt? This lady who's a teacher started crying because she said she realizes on her salary and where she lives, she will actually end up in more debt. Then, like, she will just continue to accrue more debt and more debt and more debt because her salary is not matching the cost of living. And what's sad is I've seen people be like, just spend less. Listen, guys, the cost of living is rising and our salaries are stagnant, okay? So there's not just spend less. That's not the problem here. The problem is the cost of living is outrageous, and minimum wage in some states is still $7.25. Teachers in some states are still paid a ridiculously low salary, even though their job is super important. I don't know what we can do about this, but I'm just going on a rant because it really, really pisses me off.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America. And let's talk about it, because a lot of people say it's exaggeration that you can escape, but let me tell you why it's really not. First, let's talk about credit cards, because that is one of the biggest traps in America. And it's honestly so sad to see like 90% of Americans are in debt, and like they obviously cannot pick up and go to another country. I'm 18 years old and I literally have a credit limit of $25,000, which is honestly so crazy. And I don't mean crazy is a good thing. That is horrible. But that's literally what the US government wants, is Americans to be in debt so they have like control over them. I have a few more things to talk about, but next is inflation and the prices of stuff. Literally 70 to 80% of average Americans just working like jobs, even making $100,000 a year, are going into debt each week. Just because so much prices are going up in America, rent is going up, literally bread, food, anything is going up except people's wages. Yes, it's like that in other countries, but 90% of other countries is not like that. Okay, next topic is college and getting a degree in America. Right now, more Americans than ever before are literally just getting an online job and traveling with their families. I know people who are traveling with their families to Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam, all the Asian countries for less than $2,000 a month. Back to my next point, getting a degree in America literally puts straps on you to stay there for the rest of your life. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's the American dream. Yeah, that used to be the American dream, is to go to college, get a job, buy a house, but now that's like not even possible for my generation. Okay, holy shit, what the hell is that? I need to run. Guys, why is it just on the street? Literally next to shopping, it's just like over there. Okay, but let me preface one thing. It is possible to still buy a house, but definitely not in California where I lived. I bought a rental property in Ohio for about $110,000, which I only needed about $15,000 to put down, and then I had another person put $15,000. But the only way that was possible for me is I didn't have to pay rent from 16 years old to 18 when I had a job, which I'm extremely grateful for, because I was able to get a job at 16 and just save all my money working 40 hours a week until I was 18 years old. I was actually talking to my sister about this because she went to school for about 8 years to be a physical therapist, and now that she's graduated and has been a physical therapist for about 5 years or so, because she literally cannot move out of the country unless she wants to go to another country and do her degree all over again. So it's basically like you're stuck in America if you literally go to college and get into debt like they want you to. My advice to people my age, open up a credit card, but pay it on time or pay it early. Because credit is definitely good to have when you're buying a house. Obviously you need it, but that is like my advice to people my age, and literally do not go to college. There's so many jobs on social media now that you do not need a degree for. And the amount of money that people pay for college and get into debt for is also a strap on their hand. Like, that's not even exaggeration. If you don't have parents to pay for your college, which 90% of Americans don't, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life paying college off. It was so sad because in high school, my teachers, they would like tell us how much debt they have. And mind you, they've been a teacher for over 20 years and are still paying off college. Like, it makes no sense to me. I would rather be in debt on a house, bringing in profit, than in debt on college, paying for that. Like, And it's what the government or school doesn't want to teach you. Okay, this video is already too long, but I could go about all this all day.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, all right? So, you know, I don't know if you guys have realized how easy it is for Americans right now to become homeless. It's no longer a problem that afflicts a certain group of people. It's a problem that is across all races. Touches all races in America right now. My biggest take, or what I observed when they were speaking, is especially of the woman who was complaining how her friend who is a teacher can barely survive on the salary she's being given, and furthermore how high her rent is, because in Africa $2,000 can really take you a long way. You live like a king in Africa. Yeah, although also keep in mind, in Africa, the same problem, only that ours is coming, it's coming very, very slowly, but for sure, it's about to get to the point where America is. Let's just say, you guys, I don't know if you've come across these people who normally talk about, especially people who have invested in other places. You know, billionaires are leaving America, and it's not because they're only just now discovering new places. No, it's because of the tax rate in America that is killing, you know, it's really killing people, that even big investors are leaving. And where are they preferring right now? Where do they prefer to go? And Dubai. Then you often hear pan-colored people, especially, there's so many of them on TikTok, who talk to each other and they advise each other the best countries to invest when it comes to Africa. And they are also in a very big hurry. They tell each other, come and invest now, because things are also changing in Africa. And right now you can get lucrative properties for very, very affordable prices. But it won't be like that like even 3-4 years from now, because things have started. You know, when people speak of the one world order and the powers that be manipulating governments and passing policies, we are even feeling the policies being passed here in Kenya. But right now you can get something for your money. You can breathe if you're not Kenyan. You can. There's another one who was talking about, I don't know, Lord, there's this lady on TikTok who was talking about the situation in America right now is so bad to the point where life is so expensive. When someone gets hurt, when you call an ambulance, the bill that's gonna come with that alone before you even get to the hospital. Guys, tell us your experience with this, because he was saying that your, what is it called, insurance card is not enough to cover your medical bills. But when he went to Germany, the insurance card was the only thing he needed to pay his medical bills. And even he was perplexed. He even asked the receptionist, I don't have to add anything on top of what you've cut from my card. And he was told, no, it's all taken care of. So for this reason, there are some Americans who are calling America a big scam. And there are people who say America is just a huge corporation being run, a big company being run by corporations. And so you human beings are the resources, their resources. So this girl who was talking about the ambulance and how Americans right now live in fear of even calling an ambulance because of the kind of bill they're gonna be slapped with. So she got a chance to go to study in the UK, and the most interesting thing she was telling is that the UK? She went to the UK to study. So when she was in the UK, she was a freshman in university. They decided to go to a party where a friend of theirs, also a British friend of theirs, got alcohol poisoning. She wasn't used to drinking, you know. So when she passed out on the road, as they were on their way to go back home, the other friends, she was the only American there, so the other friends were like, let's call an ambulance for her. She was the only one who jumped out in protest and said, no, we can't do that. And they're looking at her like, they weren't understanding. They were looking at her like, why? You know, do you want her to die here, is what they asked her. And she was like, no, we can't call an ambulance. That's gonna cost a lot of money, and we don't even know if she can afford to pay for the ambulance because the bill would automatically default to them, you know. So, and the others were left looking at her like she was a monster, and they were looking at her and they were like, we have to call the ambulance, because in Britain, in the UK, the ambulance is free. What? And she was like, what? And they were like, yeah, you don't have to pay for it, so let's call an ambulance immediately. And she says up to this day, when she has to call an ambulance to go to the hospital, she still gets the trauma because in America the situation was so different. You know the funniest thing is the powers that be that control America, some of them are affiliated to the powers that be that control UK. This is just a matter of them deciding to make life a bit more bearable to their resources in America, meaning the human beings. But you know, people know they like people don't like peace. I'm Kenyan, not Nigerian. People don't like peace, you know. People don't like peace, and when they see just a smidget of happiness in people, they say, they have to what can we come up with today to cause misery on A, B, C, and D? Right. And people on the internet are saying, you know, when it was the time when Black America was suffering, they're complaining about not being able to afford this and that because of hurdles, systemic hurdles. Yeah, when they were complaining about the high cost of living, because obviously the way the system has been set in America, when something happens, the Black community feels it first, you know. So because it didn't affect them, they didn't really used to voice it didn't bother them so long as they were okay. But right now, you know, they said this situation is not picking colors, so it doesn't care about race. It's affecting all of them, right? It's affecting all of them. So I don't know, guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. We'd like to hear from you. Yeah, you can also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll see you on our next episode.